we make sure to bring you a different perspective on sustainability. You know, today everything is about sustainability. We want to make sure we give you a view upon something that may be new to many of you. Now, this is something, if you're not a chemist, if you're not a lab scientist, this may bring up a few questions. We are going to ask, how do alternative proteins and bioprocessing help us feed the world, so to speak? And above all, what does this have to do with you as our partners and customers? What can we do for you with this topic? And what can I say? You're going to be in for a few surprises, I think, so just stay open-minded, and our expert is going to walk us through. I'll do the short intro. He is head of bioprocessing solutions at Krones subsidiary Steinecker. You hold a degree in brewing science, which is like applied biotechnology, and you spent your studies and career focusing on process engineering. All right, doesn't get much more technical than that. Let's get a round of applause for our expert, Alexander Scheidel. Welcome, Alex.
Thank you. Thank you, Jasmine. Thank you for this kind introduction. Yeah.
Very welcome.
Welcome to today's show, Feeding the World: Alternative Proteins and Bioprocessing. And yeah,
let's get to it.
Let's start. Yeah.
So, Alex, I know that you were very much looking forward to speaking at drinktec this year. So why don't you, for better understanding, walk us through bioprocessing? Why does it play such an important role, not only for us, but for you at Krones?
Yeah. So currently we are facing different challenges. So that means we are talking about water scarcity, about the climate crisis. So we have a very rising population in the world, and a lot of our everyday goods coming from fossil and endless resources, and that means that we are eating the world alive. So biotechnological processes gives us the opportunity to use microorganisms or their components to produce products from renewables and resources. And that's why bioprocessing is important for the future, for us as human beings, and as well for Krones.
One of the first questions I asked you when we met, Michael, was the difference. What is the difference between biotechnology and alternative proteins, or are we indeed talking of the same thing?
Yes, so when we are talking about bioprocessing or biotechnology, that means, as already mentioned, we are using microorganisms or cells to obtain the desired product. So alternative proteins is one specific application of all the biotechnological processes, which describes it very well. And that means it's a good example for how to using biotechnology or bioprocesses to produce some goods.
Okay, before we look at production itself, now to get an even better feel for it, are you warmed up yet to the topic? Do you feel we have a better, it's becoming graspable, right? Okay, we're going to go one better, and I'm going to ask the question, where can we find bioprocessing or biotechnology in everyday life? Where do we use it, perhaps on a daily basis?
So, in our daily basis, we see a lot of different biotechnological processes. There is currently this color code of biotechnology with these different colors. And when we're talking about white biotechnology, we talk about industrial biotechnology. That means it includes enzyme production, it includes beer brewing, it includes also alcohol production as well, winemaking or something like that. It's the white biotechnology, the industrial biotechnology, which everybody knows well. So the food biotechnology has meanwhile its own color. It's the yellow biotechnology, comprises like microproteins or mushrooms here, are also cultivated meat. When we talk about that, also oat drinks are part of the white or of the yellow biotechnology. Then we can talk about the green biotechnology, what means the agricultural biotechnology to produce fertilizers, to produce plant crop products or something like that. The blue biotechnology is the marine biotechnology. The gray biotechnology comprises biogas plants, something like that. And last but not least, there is a very big range of biotechnology used in the biopharmaceutical industry. And one of a very well-known product is insulin for diabetics.
All right, so thank you for establishing that. And as you can see, everyone, on the screens, we have the color coding here, so this really gives us a better overview, again, for better understanding. But since biotechnology means so many things and covers so many fields, it's very multifaceted. Yeah. What are the common grounds? How does it come full circle?
Yeah, the common ground or the basis behind biotechnology is fermentation process. And fermentation process that we are using a microorganism to obtain desired products.
Can you walk us through this fermentation process a bit in more detail?
Yeah, so how a fermentation works is, as we as human beings or all other animals on the planet, we need some nutrient solution, or we need some nutrients like carbohydrates or sugars. We need proteins or amino acids, fatty acids, or also other micronutrients like vitamins or minerals or something like that. So the cell itself is more or less the bioreactor, is fed by all these different components, and we as a supplier of the plants can provide different process parameters to obtain a desired product. And then biotechnology just produces what we want them, the microorganisms, to produce. And it's a very nice picture. I like it with the sausage in the banana to explain how biotechnological processes work.
When you started explaining the fermentation process, I was going to say it sounds like a very natural one. This is a very unnatural picture for us.
Yeah.
But we'll get back to that in just a moment. First of all, we now need to connect the dots, explain what all of this means for Krones, for your partners, and why we decided to talk about that at drinktec.
Yeah. So first, let's talk first about how we implement that in technical processes. Okay. So when we're talking about the technology behind that, so we see we need some nutrient solution. That means the upstream processing. The upstream processing includes the raw material handling, the dilution of the different components, the sterilization of that, the whole feedstock preparation around that, including also water treatment. So then we have the fermenter itself. Fermentation is not new for Krones as well. Fermentation for beer or other food products is well known for us, and these big fermenters needs to run under sterile conditions, needs to be inoculated. We have all the technology already in our portfolio. And last but not least, we have the downstream processing, the harvesting, the cleaning and washing of all the different streams, the concentration, and finally the stabilizing and packaging of the products.
All right, now I have numerous questions. Let me try to break it down. You're talking about various technical details. To sum it up, how do you master these technical challenges? I wanted to say, how do you master these challenges, and which ones are perhaps new for you? Which ones are new trends, I may say, we're seeing? Yeah. How does the bioprocessor or bioreactor, I'm sorry, how does it need to be designed to be able to overcome all of these challenges?
Yeah, so when we're talking about the bioreactor itself, the challenges to run the bioreactor are we need sterile conditions. We need to homogenize all the different cells within the bioreactor itself to provide an adequate mixing and homogenization, and also a good mass transfer of the different products into the whole volume. So then we need to feed the bioreactor with our inoculum and also with our feed, so with our nutrient solution. And this needs to be under sterile conditions, under controlled conditions. And this is the bioreactor, the challenges. What is new for us was that the various kind of different microorganisms. So when we are talking about biotechnology, we have yeast, fungi, we have other bacteria, we have mammalian cells to grow. That means every microorganism and every process has its own requirements, and these requirements and also the large amount of air was new for us. And to combine the knowledge we had already with the new requirements from new processes, that was the novelty for Krones and for us in the department.
Another thing I would consider a great challenge on behalf of, you know, the way consumers think, me myself being one, when it comes to these processes or the question natural versus, well, let's say not so natural, alternative protein market, is this a market that is even well accepted throughout the industry, or are people very skeptical?
So, very, very good question. Thank you for that. So we often get asked from our customers, or not from our customers, also for the end consumers, if these processes are natural or not. So what we are doing is we are using biological processes use them in an industrial environment under controlled conditions, that they can do exactly what they are naturally do in the cells in the nature. So that means biotechnology doesn't mean that it's unnatural, it just means that you use the processes from the nature in controlled environment behind that. But of course there are critics behind that. So a few years ago there came up a Bloomberg article if cultivated meat is supposed to save the world or if it's just another fad. When we are talking about the economical perspective of these products, it's hard to upscale them in a big industrial scale, because cultivated meat is very, very special, and in the whole field of alternative proteins, it's a very, very specific way, which needs some optimization, of course, and which needs some time to do the industrialization. Other processes like mycoprotein production or as also citric acid is already well known and also established in big industrial scale. And when we talk about customer requirements and customer wishes, the future consumer doesn't pay the bill yet. That means we have a changing requirements and changing demand for different products. We see that on the milk shelves in the supermarket already now with oat drinks and soy drinks. And in my perspective, the market is rising and it's necessary to have this kind of products for the future.
I'd like to ask a question about the customer requirements in just a minute. Before I do, this is something we had not yet discussed. Do you think bioprocessing or biotechnology is going to be like a greenhouse someday? Because that is also an artificial environment, but the vegetables, the fruit that grow in the greenhouse, we don't question anymore. Do you think we'll get there someday? Or
I think we will get there somewhere, because we can do that under controlled conditions. If the environment is not good enough for them, if we don't have enough rain or something like that, we can use that in big bioreactors. We can easily optimize them. We can use side streams to feed them. We can do the water treatment afterwards. There are a lot of technical opportunities to use bioprocesses and to use the biologization. And there is so many fields what we can think about. Also, when we talk about bioplastics and later maybe about bottles for Krones filling machines. So there are endless possibilities for the biotechnological processes here.
Very, very exciting. So back to our consumers who are not yet paying the bills today. You said their requirements are ever changing, but do the requirements themselves of the customers or future customers, do they differ extremely, or is it basically the same fundament?
It's the same fundament, but they do differ. Yeah, that's right. So we have mostly three key requirements what we have to deal with and where we need to deep dive with our customers. First, it's a kind of aeration. So we need to provide some oxygen to the cells, and the aeration rates are completely different at different microorganisms. So another point related to that is also the heat transfer rate. So that means there is big heat production within the bioreactors, and the bioreactors needs to be cooled down. In very, very big scaled bioreactors, it's a tough process engineering topic which needs to be fulfilled. And there are also, there could be some microorganisms which are very shear sensitive. That means we need a gentle stirring or a gentle homogenization, and other microorganisms doesn't need that. So there are key requirements which are the same, but we need to deep dive with our customers how their processes are working.
All right, so once again, I've said this before today and the past days as well, we do look to our customers for inspiration. It's not just us at Krones looking to guide the way. Actually, what you think, what you need, your thoughts, your demands are the things that guide us into the future. If you'd like to learn more, then please reach out to Michael and his team. And this is like the perfect conversation to take into the evening to a glass of beer, perhaps. Our beer garden is right over there, because this is something I think you could discuss for hours. This is super exciting. Michael can explain very, very well. So go ahead and make use of this opportunity. Last question in closing, Michael, Steinecker and Krones, how do you support this market or further this market and work together to do so? So
we are always customer focused. So that means the requirements for the business of our customers is always in the middle of our focus and of our work. That means we have a holistic view of the whole plant and of the business concept of our customers, and we have as well a very detailed picture and ask them how they need to process to fulfill their requirements. That means we are looking for the perfect fitted solution for our customers, and we don't want just to be a supplier at the end. We want to be a partner for a whole life cycle of their products, because complex challenges need clear solutions and strong and capable partners, and that's what we stand for.
And you stand for sticking along for the entire ride from A to Z, which we have learned from Ingenic. Thank you so much. Thank you for your attention. Enjoy the last show coming up shortly with the lovely Desiree. And again, make use of this amazing opportunity. This is a really good go-to guy if you want to understand how all of it works better. Give him a huge round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. This was Michael, and we'll see you later.
Thank you.